Good evening. My name is Ashley Meesmer, and I'm here this evening to discuss with you a presentation about ethics and worldview as it relates to instructional design. Our agenda for this evening is that we will first define what is ethics. We will look at ethics in instructional design. We will discuss ethics as it relates to a biblical worldview, and we will make the connection between ethics and instructional design and biblical worldviews. First of all, we discuss what is ethics. Ethics is defined as moral principles that govern a person's behavior or the conducting of an activity. Oxford English Dictionary, no date. It's also defined as the branch of knowledge that deals with moral principles. Also, Oxford English Dictionary, no date. Ethics as it relates to instructional design is centered around moral behavior and responsible choices while following design practices. Schlosser 2022. Ethics from a biblical worldview is the study of application of moral principles that govern a person's behavior or conduct as it relates to Christian views and the Bible. Carter, 2021. Now we will discuss ethics as it relates to instructional design. Ethics in instructional design is a skill that can be learned and taught through research and policies to ensure ethical quality design. Designers must facilitate and advocate for and enforce practices for ethical design. Schlosser, 2022. An instructional designer can develop a conscience of craft by striving for excellence beyond the expectation of the task. Designers must ensure that rights are not violated by plagiarism or copyright violations. Osglethorpe, Jacob, and Davies, 2003. Fair use allows schools to use copyrighted materials without permission as long as the guidelines are followed. Kimmons, 2020. The guidelines for fair use are that it should directly relate to educational goals, that it should only utilize a relatively small portion of the work, and that the design should not negatively impact the copyright holder's ability to profit from the work. Also, Kimmons, 2020. The Code of Professional Conduct and Ethical Principles from UXPA 2024, can be used to guide instructional design practices. The UXPA, as mentioned by Schlosser 2022, is the code of conduct centered around adhering to the following ethical principles. The act is in best interest of everyone, be honest with everyone, do no harm, and if possible provide benefits, act with integrity, avoid conflicts of interest, respect privacy, confidentiality, and anonymity, provide all resultant data as well. Now we take a look at ethics from a biblical worldview. I've grouped this into three categories. I think of a biblical worldview as how we approach ethics from a personal level, ethics in the world around us, and ethics in the workforce. Here we have the way that I've grouped these. Again, personal ethics, ethics in the world around us, and ethics in the workplace or workforce. I've identified three scriptures that come to mind when I think about ethics from a biblical worldview. All of these sources come from Bible Gateway, the New International Version. As it relates to personal ethics, Colossians 3:17 says, "And whatever you do, whether in word or deed, do it all in the name of the Lord Jesus, giving thanks to God the Father through him." All that you do it through Christ. That's a personal ethics standard that everyone can live by. You can always seek Christ and our Father when you are making decisions. As it relates to ethics in the world around us, Proverbs 11:13 states, "The integrity of the upright guides them, but the unfaithful are destroyed by their duplicity." This means don't be that of a wicked man. Don't make bad choices or non-ethical decisions in the world around us. Make sure we do what is upright and what is faithful. Otherwise, we'll be destroyed by duplicity. As ethics relate to the workplace through a biblical worldview, I've identified Colossians 3:23 through 3:24. "Whatever you do, work at it with all your heart as working for the Lord, not for human masters, since you know that you will receive an inheritance from the Lord as a reward. It is the Lord Christ you are serving." While thinking of work in the workplace, instructional design practices, be sure that everything you do it with all of your heart, and that you are ultimately serving the Lord, even in the workplace. Bible Gateway, no date, New International Version. Now it's time to make the connection between the instructional design practices and biblical worldview as it relates to ethics. We're going to bridge the gap between the two of those. When I think of ways that we could bridge the gap between instructional design, ethics, and biblical worldview ethics, I think of the following topics: integrity and privacy, which includes confidentiality and copywriting, what I refer to as a moral compass, which is how you make decisions, and equity, providing equitable experiences through your instructional design and equitable experiences for all through biblical worldview as well. It's important for us to make the connections between instructional design and ethics in a biblical worldview because we want to make sure that we keep a biblical worldview at the forefront of all the decisions that we make as designers. We want to use integrity and we want to protect privacy. We want to always follow our moral compass, and we always want to ensure equitable experience for all learners. In closing, I want to reiterate some of the points that I've discussed today. It's important to promote ethical decision making in the workplace. You do that by always following a biblical view when you think of ethics. You want to create equitable learning experiences for all. That's personal, that's out in the world, that's in the workplace, that's while making or designing platforms for learners. You want to use technology responsibly. That includes privacy and copywriting, that takes into consideration fair use. And we always want to model after Christ when we are designing for learners. Here you can see the references that I used. Thank you for joining me this evening, and have a great night.